Dope Discussions Podcast. Dope discussions, gay to Erica, woke discussions. Mob ties, how they rock and think they both was cousins. Gifting you with their words so you might know you something. Just go and look for them live, they do it every Sunday. Every Sunday.
And we gon' bring you that dope. And we gon' bring you that dope. It's Gator Beater, baby. Make state to state, baby, coast to coast. Like the fire, baby, spark the joke. And we gon' bring you that dope. Come talk with Erica, man, talk with G. And all you gotta do is talk with me. And we gon' bring you that dope. 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 You know what? I would get an acapella group together, right? And we're gonna do that whole thing acapella. That's how we're gonna start doing that thing.
That'll be dope.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Look. Might have to do that. Anyway, hey everybody, how y'all doing?
Yes, welcome back to another Dope Discussions live with your girl Erica and your boy
Gator Beater, baby. Welcome to the virtual congregation. This is Dope Discussions Live. We are the only real Dope Discussions that's out there. So if you hear it being said multiple times on another show, like it's their idea and concept, just know that.
It's us.
It's us. Welcome to the virtual congregation. Y'all go have a seat. The ushers will get the collection place around towards the end of the service. But until that moment, y'all sit back and relax. Enjoy.
Yes, we are back in the house. How was your turkey day?
I worked on Turkey Day. So here's the thing. A lot of people, I did a lot of running around doing Uber stuff. Y'all know I got like 50 of them jobs, but that day was a day for the Uber stuff. So I just ran around because unfortunately here in Atlanta, I don't have any family. So
yeah.
And I ended up, kind of by myself that day. And I was like, well, let me go ahead and try to make a little bit of money. And, I just want to take some time to say, because you mentioned that, shout out and make sure you reach out to all the people who may be having a difficult time with the holiday. I mean, you might be like, it's Thanksgiving, it's Turkey Day, it's food. But, sometimes people have, grief and suffered loss during the holiday. For example, I can actually say, Thanksgivings are hard for me because, that was, the last time I saw my mom. So it is always a very hard thing to deal with. And I thought that eventually, the more years passed, the more I would get over it. And not really get over it, but the less it would affect me. Right. And it affected me even stronger this year than it has, in past years. So just know that, sometimes people may have a difficult time dealing with the holiday. Reach out to them, say, hey, how
Mhm.
you doing? Just want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, and just give them all the love you can during
Yeah,
this time.
exactly. And I just want to reiterate my motto is family is not who you're born with. Family
Hmm.
is who you choose. So
Right,
sometimes
right,
you may not have people who share your DNA as family,
right.
but you still have people who you have a relationship with that you can call family.
Yes,
And so that's
definitely.
important as well. Hi, Stopping the Silence. Thank you for joining us this Sunday. Thank you. We are so
Welcome, welcome.
excited about the special guest that we have on today. This is a topic that is near and dear to both of our hearts. Mental
Hmm.
health is always a topic that we love to talk about, and dating is another topic that we love to talk about.
Right, right.
So today we're going to be integrating the two, and we have a
Exactly.
special guest, Mr. Val Bastian, who is a dating and relationship coach, and he's going to be helping us and leading us in this conversation. So I'm excited that he accepted the invitation to join us. And without further ado, let's go ahead and bring out our special guest.
Yeah, here he comes.
You got him?
There we go.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, Val, welcome to the Dope Discussion Studio. How are you today?
Doing really good, doing really good. And again, right off the top, I just want to let both of you guys know, thank you so much for the invite. I truly appreciate it. I'm ready for this conversation.
Oh
Yes.
wow! Thank you for coming and joining us, man. We appreciate it. We always like to have the guest ministers out here to come preach to the congregation, my man.
No
Yes, it's
problem, no
always
problem.
good. It's always good to connect and converse with people who are like-minded. And I started following him on Instagram, and watching his posts and paying attention to his content. And I was like, that's a person that I really want to have a conversation with and have on the show. So again, thank you for accepting the invitation. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners? Tell them who you are and what you do. What's your background?
Perfect. All right. So, everybody, hello again. My name is Val, and I run Dating for Millennials and Gen Z. That's dating underscore Gen YZ on Instagram. And what I aim to do is to help individuals cultivate the healthy dating and relationship lives that we all deserve. I also do lives as well. I do a series. It's called The Intricacies of Dating and Relationships, as well as every 2 weeks we do a live as well with my team. We're called Three Guys with a Girl. Um, Talking about discussions, things of that nature. And I also do sessions as well. Solo, couples, you know, people who have issues when it comes to dating or formulating a dating plan kind of thing. I help with
Mhm.
that as well. That's me.
Awesome. So you work with, you said, millennials and Gen Z. So kind of explain to us what's that age range? What's
Okay,
that
so
group?
millennials, I know it ends at 3940 because
Hmm.
every rubric that you see says something different.
Hmm.
And I believe the age that it begins is the 21-22 range, depending
Okay.
on which rubric that you're reading. That's millennials, and Gen Z is everybody that was born in, I think it said December of 96
Okay.
to January 2008, 9, something like that.
Well, thank you for
Oh wow!
clarifying that, because I hear those terms all the time, but I've
Right.
never really taken my own time to go and research what those age groups are. So I appreciate that education. What
Right.
inspired you? What was the inspiration? What made you want to be a dating and relationship coach? What did you see there was a need for?
All right. So since a lot of people are not going to believe this, but since high school, freshman year, ninth grade, I wanted to do this. I did not know to
Wow.
what capacity. I'll be very honest. I did not know to what capacity, but I always saw myself doing something like this. So like even a very quick example, we remember AOL, the screen text messaging screen
Oh
name and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So my away message always said Val's love lessons of the day. And I would say something, you know, and it's pretty much what I'm
Wow.
doing now with this page, But to answer your question, I saw a need for individuals who they did not take the time to understand what situation they're actually in. So it's like they're very quick on, okay, this is happening. I need to do this, as
Mhm.
opposed to taking a step back and just be like, okay, I'm in this situation. This is the type of situation that I'm actually in,
Mhm.
and it, let's say it's a bad situation, of course. How am I going to deal with this issue? You know what I mean? Take the time, because millennials, I see that they do take the time to deal with things, but I know Gen Z, they're kind of like boop, 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 boop. So once I saw that need and I saw that people, you know how you feel that people gravitate towards you and you don't understand why? Like, I'm
Yes.
one of those people. Like,
Yes.
they gravitate towards me. I have no clue why. I still don't know why. But once I saw that, I knew that I can reach people with
Mhm.
the conversations that I'm willing to have and just my openness and my realness to help them basically cultivate the healthy dating and relationship lives that they truly deserve.
That's awesome. I love that. Um, this is all of this stuff is when I'm thinking about this, my wheels get to turning in my head, and I have so many questions, and I don't want to overload you. I'm gonna let Gator take the next question
So
while I get
look, I knew
myself
what my
together.
question was. As soon as you started saying that, you deal with, multiple types of scenarios in dating. You deal with the single person, the couples, and the things of that. So my question is, how many cat fights have you seen?
Here we go. Here we go.
You
You
know,
know me.
so
Look.
I'll be honest with the both of you. Before I start my sessions, like I want to say that it's a list, but it's kind of like an agreement that I have with individuals. So especially with the couples that come in, and I tell them this is not a space for legit fighting and throwing barbs at each other.
Mm,
Like
Yeah.
if we're going to argue, we're going to argue in a healthy fashion. We're going to get down to finding a solution, and if we cannot find the solution, at the very least, we're going to find some kind of common ground so we can begin the process of getting to that solution. So not a lot of cat fights, especially when I lay it out that way.
See, he,
that
he he come off the bat like this is what it is. Ain't
right,
gonna be
right.
no foolishness up in here. I love
Right,
it.
right, right. I like that. I like that, and that's. I think that's really important too, because I think many times, when we start dating, we forget that we still are learning lessons as we're dating, and not
Mhm.
to jump over into some second half questions, but how important is that aspect of? I mean, how important is it to have a dating counselor when you're already dating someone? Like if you're already a couple, when do you think that you should seek help in your dating life?
I would say when you guys can't come to some sort of compromise, no matter what it is, or if you
Mm,
notice that somebody wants things their way and, their way or the highway kind of thing, I would say to seek one. I like to say honestly, if you can seek one early on, especially if you are invested in this person, and I mean truly invested, not like this is the bubbly stage, everything's so
right.
nice and all that stuff or whatever. Like no, like because I'm very big on people. I'm going to say wasting money on
Mhm.
Hmm.
trying to have a relationship coach if you're not serious about the relationship in the first place. You
Mm,
know what I mean? Why
Ooh,
would you do that? That doesn't make sense to me personally,
right,
you know?
right.
right,
So that's why, like, I try to lay it out that way. So, number one, individuals see that I'm not out here for your money, you know? Number
right.
two, I need you to understand that if you're doing this, this means that you see some type of future with this
Hmm.
individual, And number
Yes.
three, you guys are coming together. It's not just one of y'all decision, it's both of you guys coming together to work on the things in your relationship. So it truly varies to answer your question.
Right,
Yes.
right, right. I
I
like
love
that. Now,
that. Before we get to the next question, I just want to say to all of the viewers, out there, if you have any questions that you would like for us to ask Val during this conversation, please type them in the comments and we'll definitely pull it up on screen and we will get him to address your question. But my next question is for the single people who are dating. They're not really in a relationship, but they're going through the dating process to kind of find out who they would like to narrow it down to and get to know and maybe go get exclusive. What's your advice for somebody like that? Should they start out in coaching before going out into the dating field? Do you think it's best to arm themselves with the best tools before they get out there in the dating world? Because a lot of people get out there and bump their heads a bunch of times and then figure out, I need some help with this. But most people think dating is just the natural thing. It's going to come natural. And they don't understand that it's really a set of skills that you need.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think to answer the question, I think it's very subjective, only because you have individuals who need the trial and error. That's how they learn, you know.
Okay.
I say that's unfortunate sometimes because I feel like individuals can save themselves from the heartache.
Yeah.
But those are lessons. Those are life lessons. Those are things that's going to stay with you forever, and you're going to remember it, and you're going to incorporate it into your dating scene, you know, when you're talking to individuals and trying to date them, things of that nature. So I see that path. I do, if I'm being very honest and straightforward, if you have no clue how to go after the individual that you want or have the individual that you want come after you, you know, like you're clueless, then I'd say, yes, you should absolutely go to a relationship coach so you can build some kind of plan or have some kind of understanding of, okay, this is actually what I really, really need. Because a lot of people go after their wants and end up being hurt. Okay. The sacred list that people have, you know, they have to have this, they have to be 6'7", you know, they have to have a nice body and, you know, all these things or whatever. Like, I understand wanting those things. I am not coming at anybody for wanting those things. It makes a lot of sense. But I would ask them, would you want somebody that's 6'7" opposed to somebody who caters to your needs? You know, I want answers to those types of questions so we can make this plan and to get you ready to jump back into the dating scene after heartbreak, or to jump into the dating scene because you feel that you're ready, you did your healing, or if you had to heal from something, or you know, just whatever path that you're on. It's so important to understand that you need to take the time to think about it before just jumping back into it or jumping into it, period.
Love that. You got something, Gator?
Well, I'm just looking at some of the comments here and see some good questions out here. Queen says, question, should you date multiple people at once or just one to find out if you want to continue an exclusive relationship?
Great question. Great question. I don't see anything wrong with dating multiple people. What I see wrong is if you're not being honest with them. Like, you can date, talk to, find out whatever you want to find out, all of that stuff. But if you're not being honest with the people that you are dating, I think that's messed up. I truly think that's messed up. And you're setting yourself up for a potential blow up. You know, what if this individual finds out you're talking to somebody else? Like, how are they going to handle it? What if things were going good with them? But now that they found out that you're talking to somebody else, you just ruined a good thing. You just ruined your potential blessings. You know, truthfully, and everybody's going to say something different. But from where I come from and what I've learned in my experience, especially through school and the experiences with counseling and all that stuff, there's truly nothing wrong with it because you're dating to see who you like. You're dating to see what you like. You know, you're dating to see what this individual can provide. At the same time, you got to see what you can provide as well. It's a two-way street. But you got to be honest. If you're going to start a relationship not being honest, you're just building a foundation that's going to crumble.
Yes. So that goes into our topic of today. We're talking about how our mental health affects our dating life. And I think there's a big effect on that part of our life. And I think it's so understated and not talked about and a lot of times ignored. And I think many people use dating and relationships as therapy. They're taking out their mental health issues on that person, and they're using that person to help them heal from something. What do you think about that statement?
Unfortunately, I think it's true. I absolutely think it's true. I actually had a young lady. Unfortunately, she went through a very traumatic experience with um, her ex because they broke up now. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Um, to be very frank, she was raped.
Wow.
So, um, because I do the relationship stuff, I had to just focus on that, but I had to help her find a mental health advocate, counselor, to help her
Mhm.
with that, to go through that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the one thing that I've noticed with rape victims, when they go through things of that nature, they're very fearful of different aspects of relationships. Now,
Mhm.
they can find an excellent partner, amazing partner, treats them well, you know. But let's say, for example, okay, so sex, for example, they're going to
Mhm.
be fearful of even initiating it because they're still thinking about what happened to them, you know.
Right.
Right.
And that's just unfortunate. And that's something that if you don't go through it, and I'm a man, obviously, I
Mhm.
don't understand exactly where your mind goes when you're trying to initiate sex with somebody else that you like, that you love, but you've been through something like that. That's something that you have to process. That's something that I honestly would tell individuals to go seek a counselor, to work through those things, because that's going to happen, fearful of sex. Um,
Mhm.
Anything that remotely reminds them of the situation that they were in is going to come out, and they may put that on their partner, sometimes unknowingly,
Mhm.
sometimes knowingly, but they're going to justify it with, well, I went through this and you know this. Hopefully they know this. So you kind of have to deal with it,
Mhm.
which I don't think is appropriate either. Um, Everybody has the right to deal with and do what they want to do, honestly. Um,
Right.
Choosing to be with somebody who's been through situations such as that, that's a big feat. I'm very honest with you, it's a big feat. Um, but as long as the individual is going through that healing and things of that nature, the
Yeah.
mental health aspect is something that can be dealt with delicacy between the both of them.
Right. Right. Um, I have my opinion, but I want to know your opinion. When somebody has come out of a unhealthy, toxic relationship and they haven't taken the proper time to really heal from that, and they get into another relationship, how often do you see those types of situations in your coaching business?
Often, very often.
Mhm.
Um, some There was one relationship that actually worked out and they got married, so I was very happy for them.
Right.
Dealing with that situation and all that stuff, and their honesty and openness with each other. Very
Mhm.
proud of them. But that's not the story for everybody. You know,
Right.
um, I think that people should take time after their breakup,
Mhm.
before getting back into a relationship. Some people use other people just to get over their last relationship, you know,
Mm.
which that just messes up everything. I'm trying my best not to give profanities here, but it messes up
Let it go if
these
you
relations.
need
Let
to.
it go. It's all right.
Let it
We all
go.
mind cussing around here.
It's it's messed up, honestly, because then
Hmm.
you're taking all that hurt, that pain, whatever you have, you're placing it
Yeah.
on the other person, and sometimes they have no clue where it came from because you in
Hmm.
that situation didn't tell them what's going on. You wasn't honest. You know,
Yes.
some people don't feel like they need to say that, oh, I just came out of a relationship, you know, because they're ashamed. Some people are ashamed. I think that gender plays a role in it as well. I
Hmm.
believe I'm gonna say in my experience, I feel like the females are more ashamed of it than the men.
Yes.
I'm not too sure why. I'm still trying to explore it and things of that nature, of course. But one of the things that come up is I think females being seen as fragile, you
Hmm.
know, Men, because of the society that we're in, it's just we're supposed to be in relationships. Some of them work,
Right.
some of them don't. We're just going to continue dating, which I do not agree with at all.
Yeah. What do you recommend for um like dating in a new dating situation? When is the appropriate time to have that conversation about like mental health issues and your past traumas, triggers? Should that be like early on in the dating situation, or should that come out like in layers and levels as you're getting to know the person?
Ooh, that's very tough to answer. I'll be honest with you. That's tough to answer. Because there's some individuals who would like to take their time and let their situations come out over time.
Mhm.
Like in layers, exactly like you said. Um, but then you might find an individual who wants to know all these things up front so they can make a decision if they want to continue or not. You
Mhm.
know, you have individuals where, let's say that I'm a schizophrenic, for example.
Mhm.
I'm a functioning schizophrenic. Now, I'm ashamed, because you hear somebody's a schizophrenic, people tend to just run the other direction, you know.
Right.
So now we're 6 months in, you know, for whatever reason, my partner has not picked up on the fact that I am a schizophrenic, functioning
Right.
schizophrenic. Now, I'm in the position where I'm just like, things are going great. I really love this individual. I'm going to be honest and I'm going to tell them what's up. So I tell them. Now, the whole bunch of situations can happen from there.
Yeah.
My
Mhm.
partner could be very upset because
Yes.
she could say something along the lines of, I thought we were close enough that you would tell me this.
Right.
Why don't you tell me this in the beginning? Why are
Right.
you telling me this now? You know, um, all these questions could have been answered prior to all of this happening. So now you're potentially going to lose a blessing because you wasn't honest in the beginning. Understanding why you weren't honest in the beginning, understanding
Mhm.
that you were ashamed, understanding that maybe you're working through, your mental health and things of that nature. But some people still they're not to the point where it's like mental health should be normalized as of yet. They see mental health issue, they run the other direction.
Yeah.
So it's just if it's a conversation that could be had somewhat in the beginning of
Mhm.
the relationship, I feel like that would be more beneficial for potential heartbreak down the road. Um,
Mhm.
I'd rather have somebody who knows what I'm going through and says that they want to learn about it and work with me to work through it,
Yeah.
as opposed to not stringing them along, but we're in this relationship, they think they know everything that's going on, and then I just drop this bomb on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, and you mentioned schizophrenia, and when I think about that, I think about that as not just like a past trauma that you haven't healed from. It's kind of a permanent thing. When you're
Yes.
dealing with scenarios with depression and anxiety, they may not be as big a blinking lights as schizophrenia, but it's very common, especially in the Black community, that depression and anxiety diagnosis. How do you recommend people that do suffer from those diagnoses approach dating? Because I can see why it could be something that people might be ashamed of, but as you said, it's something that has to be known by that other partner to have complete transparency.
I agree. Um, I would honestly, I would say to be working through what you're going through. So having a mental health counselor, um,
Mhm.
depending on how you see medicine, I'm not going to
Mhm.
say go towards pills or do anything natural. You do what you feel like doing. You do what's good for you. But seeking assistance in that sense, doctors, things of that nature. Don't let I know you said depression. I know you said stress. Um, and then seasonal depression too, since where
Mhm.
everything's
Yeah.
like turning night so early.
Yes.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I think that individuals really need to do their own due diligence and stand up for themselves and get their help that they get the help that they need for themselves first before even
Right.
thinking about hopping into dating.
Yes, I agree. We have a question here from Triumphant TV. Hey, Tony. He says, is it the
Hey.
person's responsibility to check in and make sure that other person is taking their meds?
I wouldn't say it's solely their responsibility. First off, thank you for the question. Truly appreciate it. I don't think that it should be solely the partner's responsibility. Is it the person's responsibility to check in to make sure the person is taking their meds? So I guess you mean the individual themselves that's taking the medicine. If that's the way that it's phrased, then definitely it is absolutely their responsibility to take their medicine, things of that nature. I think the partner should absolutely be in on it and be helping to help the person remember to take their medicine, not as a condescending thing, because people think, oh, I'm reminding them, but it's the delivery, how you're reminding them, that can cause fights. We don't need that. We don't need that at all. Hey babe, do you remember to take your medicine today? Something,
right.
Keep the voice elevated. Did you take the medicine today? Did you forget? No, it's the delivery. It lets them know that you care, number one, and you're looking out for them, number two. Just watch the delivery.
Yes, definitely the delivery, because you can say anything in the tone of it can be condescending, like if your girlfriend is going through a mood swing. Are you on your period today or something? If you say it like that, then she's gonna be like, what you mean?
Right.
But if you say it in a caring way, babe, are you have, is it that time of the month? Do you need me to do something for you? You need me to go get you some chocolate from the store? What can I do? It's just the way you deliver.
Right. I know I could attest to that. I dated someone once that was, we mentioned schizophrenia, and it hit home for me because I dated someone who had schizophrenia before, and they were on medication, and it became a thing where you have to kind of learn, and she was upfront and honest about it, but you have to kind of learn your partner. And when I would see those changes in behavior, I would just kind of lovingly, kind of sit down like, hey, is everything okay? Have we followed your schedule today? And just like that, but just do it in a loving way so that she didn't feel, confronted or bombarded, because that would only make the condition worse in those scenarios.
Yeah, I think it's really important that, your partner feels like your partner in that situation, and you're more apt to really take care of yourself when you don't feel like you're hiding a part of yourself in that relationship. So many people get into relationships and they are like Jekyll and Hyde. They feel like I have to hide this part of myself in order to be loved and accepted by this person. And if you feel that way, then that's not the right relationship at all.
No.
And I think the dating game is so inundated with that mindset that this conversation is so important, because it's been stigmatized. Mental health has been so stigmatized, especially in the Black community.
Yeah.
I made a post a few months ago on my page asking if you were dating somebody and you found out that they were going to therapy, if they were actively going to therapy, would that be a positive thing for you, or would that be a red flag? And I was surprised that the number of people that said that would be a red flag for me. And I was like, why would that be a red flag? That means that they are consciously taking control of their mental health, taking the steps, being proactive and doing what they need to do. Wouldn't that speak to their level of responsibility and not be, there's plenty of people walking around who are portraying to be perfectly normal and need to be in therapy. Those are the people you need to be worrying about.
Exactly. I feel like that's wow.
That's sad. That's sad, honestly.
Yeah.
Because it's exactly what you said. It's the stigma. And once people think, they hear, oh, I'm in therapy, they're just like, why? What for? What's going on with you? What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
And not even see it as, what are you actively trying to heal from? What are you working on to become a better
Exactly.
person?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's sad because you get that, and there was a time when I was going through, therapy. I felt almost like a broken toy in a way, where
Mm-hmm.
it was like, I'm fine. I'm gaining, I'm just, talking through things, and I'm healing.
Mm-hmm.
But when people hear that, it's like an instant turn off, turn away, especially as a black man.
Mm-hmm.
When women hear that, they're like, red flag, roll the other way.
Right.
How do you suggest that, black men specifically, I'm asking this question for, relay that information though to someone, a potential partner of theirs, that or when should they do it? Should that be during the dating phase, just to kind of get it up front, or maybe when you're, found someone that you want to take it a little step further with? When should you relay that information?
I think that you should begin the process of starting that conversation after you've taken it within yourself, knowing that what you're going through is not a weakness. You're actively trying to
Mhm.
gain strength from what you're doing. You feel confident in what you're doing. You feel confident in seeking therapy because you know you're trying to heal from whatever it is that's going on, or to just become a better person, period.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot have the conversation with somebody and be ashamed about it.
Right.
You don't want them to pick up on that, you know. Um,
Yes.
but you want to be honest as well. So that's why I said you have to do that work first for yourself before even beginning that conversation. Now, when you are in a space where you're just like, I am healing, this is not a weakness, this does not define me, I'm becoming a better person, that's when you can start to like kind of like chink at the conversation, start
Mhm.
to have that conversation, try to get a feel for how this individual is taking it, you know what I mean? I think that it's kind of subjective as well, because
Mm-hmm.
let's say,
Mm.
for
Yeah.
example, excuse me, let's say, for example, you guys are dating. So I mean, like maybe the first month to like the 3 month mark, something of this nature, and this conversation comes up, if this conversation comes up and you feel comfortable, I would have that conversation. Don't feel forced. Don't feel like
Mm-hmm.
you was put in a corner. If you feel this way, you can let the individual know that you want to revisit this conversation at a later date. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just be honest with them. Because again, if this is supposed to be your person, they're going to understand the fact that this conversation might be a little bit too much for you at this current time. There has to be a reason why you want to put it off. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they're going to give you that space until you're ready, you know. But you got to do your job as well as the person who's asking for that space to be like, I'm not going to forget about having this conversation with you. You're an individual that's important to my life. I'm dating you, depending on how long you guys been together, of course. Um, and then have that conversation when you feel like you're truly ready, not when you're in a corner, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I love what you said earlier, that it is about how you deliver it, because the other person, if you're coming to them from a shame point of view, if you're like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you this and I hope you take it well, and if you're coming from that point of you're ashamed of it, that's how they're going to perceive it.
Right.
And
Yes.
if you're coming to them in an empowering way, like, this is what I'm dealing with, I'm in control of it, I'm working on it, and I just want to let you know. And you're coming from a point of, I'm giving this to you. If you don't accept it, if it's not something that you think you can deal with, I'm okay with that. No hard feelings, because I'm doing this for me. And when you come
Right.
to them
Yes.
like that, they will probably more open to accepting it and wanting to know more about it and working with you with it. But if you're like dropping all of your trauma at their feet and like, now this is what I got, now what you gonna do with it?
Right.
You're like, I choose not to deal with it, because you're not even dealing with
Mm.
Yep.
it. You're
Yep.
giving it to me to deal with. So that's another question I have for you. What would you say to a person who's actively like dating or in a relationship with somebody?
Yep.
You notice that they have some mental health issues that they are in denial of themselves. How do you approach that topic with them without shutting them down?
Okay. So I got asked this question last year, actually, around this time, which is very interesting that you asked that. And I'm smiling now because they ended up in a very good place. So I'm so happy for them.
Good.
But it's a very, very delicate thing. So the how to go about it. Okay. So you would make sure that you are not hot. Like you're not upset about something. You're not upset that you're picking up on all these things. And maybe you tried to introduce this conversation before and they completely shut it down. You know,
Yeah.
no, you're coming from a place of love. You're coming from a place of wanting to help, wanting to be there, wanting to be a great partner. That's where you're coming from, you know.
Right.
And you would let them know, like, hey, babe, I want to talk to you about something whenever you have the chance. You know, y'all sit down and you lay it out there, but you lay it out there lovingly. I've noticed that you've had very low energy lately, and I've noticed that you haven't been really hanging out with your friends a lot. And I'm just really worried about you. Like, do you feel like you might be depressed about something? Like, is something going on? You know, just trying to get them to open up to you, be
Right.
transparent, and be vulnerable. You know, um, and I was looking at some research actually earlier today, and I think most of us know this already that men have a very hard time being vulnerable and transparent, especially when they're going through something. You know,
Yes.
got to be honest. So it's going to be harder, I believe, for the man to open up and be honest and say what's going on.
Yeah.
I believe it is
Mhm.
much easier for the females to emote and say exactly what's going on. Um, but in that sense, still, you being the person that's trying to bring this up to get this out of them, you
Mhm.
need to come correct. You need to come with perfect delivery, almost perfect delivery, and letting them know that you're not trying to shame them for whatever they've been going through. You want to start this conversation and kind of sort of like ride the wave and see where it goes. Because, like you said earlier, Erica, like if they pick up on the fact that, okay, she's noticed all these different things about me, this is somebody that I deem important in my life. So it's nice that they are noticing these things about me. Granted, I don't like it, but it's
Right.
real. She's giving it facts and she's backing everything up. And right now she's trying to help me out, you know. So most men they want to get defensive right off the bat, you know.
Right.
Um, but if I think for men it takes more time to have that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
Um, But depending on the relationship dynamic as well, they might just open up and just say, okay, I've been looking things up. And granted, never do this, people. Okay, that's how you put yourself in a hole. Please don't do this. Oh my God. But people look things up and then they're just like, okay, I think I'm dealing with this, and this is why. You know, I've had that happen in sessions before, which is great to have this conversation, have this dialogue with somebody who is unbiased,
Mhm.
doesn't know you guys, just have this conversation openly. If you can't have it with just the both of y'all, because maybe you're uncomfortable, which is okay. It's an uncomfortable conversation. It is,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, no matter how hard we try to normalize it, there's people out there that's going to still be like mental health. You know what I mean? So
Right.
if you have that conversation in that frame, just approaching it with love, not trying to like poking the bear, keep poking them, keep poking them. When you see that they're kind of like shying away, like I don't think what you're saying is true. You got to be able to read your partner as well.
Right.
Right, right,
I
right.
love that.
Now,
I wanted to address this comment, George Cruz. A lot of Black
Mm.
people aren't seeking therapy because they can't afford it. Out of pocket is pricey, and certain insurance doesn't cover therapy. What advice would you give people who are they're just having their mindset that therapy is out of their reach?
I think that they should Google, if they're Google savvy. I think that you need to research free therapy, because there is free therapy out there for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody who's watching this here, like, please feel free to send a DM. I will absolutely send you all of the resources that I have that you can get help, and it'll be free. Free. No
Yes.
copay, no nothing of that nature. You don't have to worry about that. I would tell all these individuals to please don't let money stop you from trying to become a better person, for dealing with what you're
Loved it.
going through. Please try your best not to do that, because these
Yes.
resources are out here. They're free. You just have to find it. I will help you do that.
Yes, I'm going to put your Instagram up here shortly so that people can definitely follow you and contact you for that.
No problem.
Yeah, definitely, because I think that's something that a lot of us need, and the commenter brings up a good point. I think that many times when we think of therapy, we think of that as being, not just stigmatized, but also we start looking at that as being something that, oh, I ain't got the money to do that, or I can't afford to do those types of things, and we continue to kind of sit back and allow ourselves to go through these mental gymnastics and these hurdles, and you become self-accepting, like, oh, that's just how I am. And to be completely honest, it's never too late to get better. It's never too late to get therapy. It's never too late to to make a change. And I think that's another thing that we absolutely have to normalize.
Absolutely agreed.
Definitely. And these conversations, that's going to help with that. We're going to keep having these type of conversations over and over again until it's normalized. And then the next generation coming behind us will pick up, and take the baton and run with it and make sure, because we stress so much about our physical health, but we've missed the connection that our mental health affects the physical in so many ways.
Yes.
Yes.
So many ways. I've been studying how depression leads to high blood pressure. It leads to, diabetes, because when your brain is not firing on all cylinders, you neglect a lot of things in your life that you should be taking care of to keep yourself healthy.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that Black people, are behind in this area, because we could be, um, our physical health could be so much more up to speed
Right.
if we weren't neglecting the mental part of it. The brain is another organ. When that brain breaks down, what do you think the body's going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I'll break down right along with it.
I think it's just that we're so visual. If we can't see a physical injury, we think there's
Right.
nothing there. There's nothing wrong. And, that situation with Simone Biles is a perfect example of people,
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't see her physical injury, so they assume she's okay. You can still do it. And when she took that step and made that decision to not participate in the Olympics, I was so, so, so proud of her. I was so proud of her. And I was angry at all of the people who were saying she was a traitor and, she's a quitter and all of this. But if she goes up there and breaks her neck and kill herself, y'all will be talking about somebody different tomorrow. You wouldn't even utter her name again.
Yep.
So she
Exactly.
took the step to take care of herself, and I'm proud of her for that. And I hope other young Black women, all Black people all over, take that as a sign that your mental health is very important. And if you're out here in these dating streets and you're thinking that you want a healthy relationship, but you're neglecting that part of your life,
Right.
hang that up, hang it up.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
And
I do have one.
go ahead, Gator.
I do have one question, because I know we're gonna be wrapping soon. I got a question for you though. So
Mhm.
we talked about, dating, the couple scenario, and we talked about, approaching someone and letting them know, hey, look, there's, you may have an issue that you may need to be addressed. What if your partner has an issue and they just don't want to address it? They're well aware, but they're just, this is what I am, and I'm not going to change at all.
Mhm.
How do you approach a scenario like that?
Okay. So I think this one truly depends on the amount of time that you guys been together.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna say that because in the beginning, when somebody notices that, like this is me, take me as I am, you know, you have that choice now. You just received this information. You have the choice to leave, or you have the choice to see what happens. You know what I
Right.
mean? I'm more prone to teach individuals to leave because if that's the kind of person that you're with, that means that there's no room for compromising. You need to always compromise in dating, in relationships, in marriage, friendships. Like it can't always be your way. So if this comes out, this individual knows there's something going on, but they don't want to work on it, like that makes me go to what else in their life are they not working on? What else in their life are they
Mm.
shying away from? What else are they not working on? Um, broken friendships, for example, for something that they did and they know that they did it, but
Mhm.
they're saying that they don't want to apologize. That's a red flag to me, you know?
Yes.
So I would hope that individuals pick that up very early on in their relationship because you have the chance to get out. And I apologize to everyone who does think in this fashion, my way or the highway, things of that nature, but it can't be like that. It doesn't go that way. If you have somebody like that, someone that you're going to consistently walk over, because essentially that's what you're doing. You're always getting your way
Right.
and you're walking over them. You know, first off, why would you do that to somebody that you love? Number one, and number two, don't you think they're going to rebel one day?
Mhm.
Don't you think they're
Mhm.
going to leave you? You think they're going to be able to deal with this in a long term? That's why I said it
Yes.
kind of depends on how long you guys been together, because again, I would hope that you would figure this out way early in the relationship to save yourself from heartache. If it's like 6 months to a year and you're seeing this come out, you're going to have to deal with that heartbreak. Honestly, unless you're an individual that can deal with it, then
Mhm.
power to you. But the majority of individuals that I deal with that cannot deal with that, and in my opinion, rightfully so, I,
Right.
I wouldn't deal with it. I wouldn't deal with it. Mm-mm.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that has to be, and the reason I asked the question, because I was just sitting here thinking about that when we were talking earlier, it has to be a burden on the other person if one person decides that, hey, look, I am, we use schizophrenic a couple times. I'm schizophrenic and this is just what I am. And I'm not medicated, or, they're going through severe depression or severe anxiety and they don't want to come out of that zone. I feel like that would be a major hindrance on the other party, and ultimately probably affect their happiness just as much as it does the person who's depressed.
Mhm.
Yes, agreed. Why would you want to be with somebody who doesn't want to heal themselves?
I heard a lot of
You
people
know?
say that they're in therapy to deal with the people in their life who won't go to therapy.
Ooh,
Wow, yeah, that's
wow.
That's
yeah,
hard.
That's a good
That's
one.
hard.
yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, I do have. I was saying that was like a good rap question, but I actually have one other question, and
Sure.
this is for you personally, dealing with what you've dealt with as a relationship and dating coach. Have you ever had a couple come in where you sat there and you said, you know what, y'all don't need to be together? Like, you know what? I think y'all need to go ahead. You go over here. You go over there. I will help you set up your Bumble when you get on POF, because that's gonna be, y'all won't interact. Have you ever had a couple that you just were like, nah, I don't think they're gonna make it?
Personally,
he
I'm
got
just
to he got to be
listen,
professional, but I'm sure.
I'm gonna be professional because aside from being professional, I have my own opinion as well.
Yes. Yes.
But I have okay. So I've never outwardly said to the couple, you guys should not be together. Because I don't feel like I should be the judge of that. You know, I'm going to bring you on a journey so both of you or one of you will know and pick up the fact that you guys should not be together. It's not my job to tell you that you guys shouldn't be together.
Right.
Yes.
This is with the exception of um, domestic violence,
Right,
things of that
right.
nature. Anything that's
Right.
hard hitting like that, I am going to come out and say that you do not need to be with this individual, and I need to get you help to get away. If we got to call
Right.
grief counselors, whatever it is, that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
You know, but with the exception of that, so we're not talking about those hard hitting serious things.
Right, right, right.
Just with everything else, just the arguing, no compromising. You can't stand that he keeps the toilet seat up. It really bothers you. You know, things of that nature. I bring them down a path so they can, one of them could realize it on their own. Like, and I'm saying this and I'm thinking about this young lady who comes to me, and I love this lady. You know, she's great. The thing is, she feels as if everything she does is not good enough. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I have to bring her on that journey to know, like, are you in a vacuum? As in, like, these things that you're thinking that is not good enough, you're not doing good enough. Obviously, yes, it's coming from your man. But are you talking to other people about this? You know, is he the only one making you feel this way? You know, and at the time, she was only talking to him because he held her away from all of her friends to talk about the relationship stuff. Yeah, he specifically said, I do not want you talking to your friends about us, good or bad, you know.
Wow.
And she thought that it was just to be private, but it was for him to keep her close and to
Yeah.
make sure that everything that's going on in the relationship, the bad stuff, especially him, you know, is staying in. So I needed to bring her on that journey to find out, like, this is not you. This is not a you problem, you know. This is a him problem.
Right.
Like, we made a plan to compromise. We made a plan to have these conversations. I even had him on in a session with her, and I'm noticing all these different things that she's saying, you know, because obviously you're in a session and it's one-on-one. For example, you're hearing all these stories, and granted, you're going to believe them, but you want to see it for yourself as well, you know.
Right.
And once I saw their dynamic and how afraid she kind of was when she was speaking with him there, as opposed to how freely she spoke when it was just me and her, that told me everything that I needed.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So I will bring you on the journey to figure it out on your own. I should not be here. But I truthfully do not think it's my place to say you guys should not be together.
I love that. And that's exactly, I agree with that 100%. It's a coach's job to help you find the answers on your own, because if I tell you the answer, you're not going to accept it. Once you figure it out for yourself and it snaps in your own head, it's your truth. But if I tell it to you, it's not going to have the same impact because that's your opinion. So I love that. And I just want to thank you again, Val. This has been so awesome. Thank everybody in the comments for all of your input.
Yes.
It's been awesome. This has been a great conversation. And I want to extend an invitation to have you back in the future. If you would like to come back, we would definitely love to have you back. Yes.
Oh yeah, we definitely got to have you back on, man. 'Cause, you know, we got enough ratchet questions to ask you about.
Oh
dating.
yeah, if you ever want to get down and dirty with some ratchet questions, I'm gonna let Gator take hold of those because he can do that.
Ratchet King.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
And before we get out of here, I just want to give you the floor to say whatever you want to say about the topic or anything that you want to close us out with before we close out. So you have the floor.
Okay. So the main thing first off, thank you for everybody who's watching this, who joined in on the conversation, the comments. I know that the host clearly appreciated it. I always appreciate the comments, you know, especially the questions too.
Yes.
One of the biggest things that I definitely want to leave with is please don't make up stories. You know, what you see, it's potentially it. Whatever somebody tells you, that's what it is. Don't go trying to change people. They have to want to change for themselves. Don't put
Yes.
yourself in that position. That's one of the things I definitely want to leave individuals with, because that's how you lose yourself. We can't lose ourselves, man. We're all we got. So please make sure that you're doing the work within yourself to realize that you are you and you are a great individual. Don't lose yourself to dating. Don't lose yourself to somebody who doesn't appreciate what you bring to the table, because there's somebody out there that will appreciate what you bring to the table, and they will elevate you along with themselves, so y'all can be in a great position. That's facts.
Facts.
Hashtag.
Hashtag facts. Yes, again, thank you, everybody. This was another dope discussion. And thanks again to our special guest, Mr. Val Bastian. Y'all go on and follow him on Instagram. That is his Instagram, scrolling across the bottom of the screen.
Yes,
We
yes.
have some more content creators and life coaches and podcast hosts in our audience. They will probably love to reach out to you and probably have you on their platform as well, because
yeah.
I'm already getting
Please.
inbox messages of how great this conversation was today. So just be looking for your DMs to start blowing up.
Oh yeah.
No problem
look.
at all. Please.
We almost like the AME round here. We got everybody that
Yes.
our fellow podcasters, they always love to jump in, and it's a network, it's a family, it's a community, it's a tribe, and
Yes.
we
I love
all
that.
reach out to each other to help elevate it. So man, I'm looking forward to seeing you on everybody's show.
Yes.
I appreciate you guys. And again, thank you so much for the invite. I truly appreciate it. This was a dope conversation.
Thank you. Dope discussion.
Dope
The
Good night,
only dope discussions.
Good night, everybody. Y'all have a
Ciao,
good
y'all.
Sunday evening.